Today I want to do a video review of the Motorola T800s in comparison to a kind of paired setup of Gotenna Mesh and a standard FRS GMRS radio. To start, what is the T800? The T800 is supposed to be basically the, from my understanding, the non-mesh version of this Gotenna, which pairs with your phone so you can text off-grid. And then it also gives you FRS. This is up to 2 watts, this is up to 5 watts, and it gives you a handheld radio that you can use to talk. And the potential is great. I think Motorola is an awesome company, and they make really solid products. And in the unboxing, again, rechargeable AA's, and I think they're really good radios. Here's where it kind of starts going downhill on the T800s. I feel that I am fairly proficient with consumer radios, and I have had an extremely challenging time making this work with my phone. Well, I take that back. I can pair this really easily. Once I've turned on the Bluetooth, I can pair it really easily. Going from that to having 2 radios and then having the phones text to each other, and then being able to do the easy pairing and location sharing. I even called Motorola for some tech support. I've read over the manual itself a bunch of times, and I've sat down with these for hours trying to make these work. I was very successful making these text to each other on occasion, and I was very successful in making these easy pair on occasion. The downside is I cannot make this a repeatable thing. I cannot pair with both of these phones and then text or share location or easy pair, let alone all 3. I cannot get consistent range, and that's in comparison to a Gotenna Mesh. Sorry about the wind. That's in comparison to the Gotenna Mesh for a reference, because these are basically asking to do the same thing. These are basically asking both to be able to text and then both be able to share your location, have offline maps. One other thing that's really hard is on the app, when I'm using it, trying to text, the only way I can find a text is to go into your offline maps, then inside of maps on the bottom there's a chat button, and then go into the chat, and then there's a drop down or a list of all the people you can have a chat with that you've set up on different phones. So you can have each phone basically has a number, and that's how you set it up. And I cannot get repeatability on any of those things. I've tried. I actually was going to do a video review just today on how to do easy pairing and how to text over these radios in the phone. And I have done it. I've done it multiple times, but I cannot get it to be repeatable. I can't just walk up like I can with this Gotenna Mesh, turn it on, and start texting. I cannot get it to be that easy. The easy pairing, I've tried over and over again, and I just tried for probably half an hour, and I just cannot get it to be consistent. I've followed the steps, followed the directions, watched the little, Motorola has little videos you can watch that are inside of the app that I think should be kind of open everywhere. And so because of that, this kind of showing how to do an easy pairing and a texting through the Talk About Motorola app has kind of turned into a combined video with a comparison video I was also going to do. So the question was going to be, should you replace these 2 things, a Gotenna Mesh and a standard FRS GMRS 2A radio, with this Motorola T800? If it could be consistent, then I think it's a great platform. I think having everything in one package, that's one thing to recharge, one thing that has spare batteries, because on this it's just rechargeable USB. And while this is an all-day battery, you know, the easy option with this is you can discharge it, you can pop it out, put double A's in, you can put in Motorola's proprietary battery, and it works great. The hard part is, again, I just can't get it to work consistently. When I called Motorola and talked to them, we went over different channel options and frequencies, and I've done everything from the half-watt FRS stuff to the 2-watt. I've changed from no privacy code to privacy code. Then I've changed from analog privacy code, and Motorola has digital privacy codes that are on the they label them as in the 100s. And I've tried doing that, and again, I still can't get consistency out of that. So right now, I really think the best option is still to get a Gotenna Mesh and hook it on your pack or your belt loop or whatever you're going to do, and then use this for your normal talking around and stuff. Or, you know, whatever radio you choose to use. The concept is great. Like this is a great product. I think it's, maybe this is version 1, I don't know, but something just is not connecting between all these devices, between 2 phones and 2 radios, let alone I was going to get 2 more radios and try and do a big group pairing and show, okay, this one radio can talk to 3 others and it's a really good family function, but I can't even get the 2 to work. The range on these are good. I mean, they're standard Motorola, so like in the unboxing I showed that you have a low, which is half a watt, and a high, which is 2 watts. And again, that's contingent on what channel you're on. And there's a list of that in the manual. I believe 1 through 14 are only half watt, and then 14 to 22 are half or 2 watts. And again, the audio quality is good. There's a really great feature on here that, again, I was going to show, but I can't because I can't get them to pair. You hold down this emergency button like in the unboxing video that I was showing. It sets off a loud audible tone from the radio, and then in your app you preset a message. So on mine, what I did is I put Nikki's first and last name, I put her phone number, and please contact her. There's basically a person name, a phone number, line, and then a short message. When you hit that button, it does work because I've done it. It goes to the other phones that are, again, paired with the radio and can receive those messages through the Talk About app. And that does show up on your Apple Watch. It shows up, and it's a little, when you first turn your watch, the little icon for the Talk About Motorola app shows up, and then just like on kind of 360 or something else, like any other iPhone thing, then you can scroll up and it has the message. And then that goes out to anybody. So normally you have your chat set up and you have a person-to-person or a group, and then when you do the emergency message, it goes out to anybody that's on that frequency, which is an awesome feature. It allows you to have an audible alert from where you are, and it also allows you to send out a text message to anyone in that area in your group, or anyone that happens to be, if you're on a race event or you're in a big group, and just everyone kind of agrees channel 4, privacy code 3 is kind of what we're going to use, and that way when you send out that message, then everyone can kind of get it. But again, they do have to be on here. I'm sorry, on that same frequency channel privacy code. So I still think this Gotenna Mesh is definitely the way to go. We did some testing around Dallas, and we could not get a consistent send-receive on these. What we were getting after talking to Motorola and reading in the manual, due to an FCC rule, there's a 30-second wait that has to happen. So when you send a message with your app, and you're not sure if that went through because it does say a send and receive, you cannot send a message immediately again. It's not like the Gotenna Mesh where you can just kind of, just like you're texting on a phone, like normally would, or WhatsApp or whatever you're going to use. There has to be that delay, because if you text within that 30-second delay, which should be like bold print or something on the text thing, it won't go through. It'll say the radio's in use or it's out of range. And that took forever for us to figure out, because coming from the Gotenna Mesh, when you pair with your phone and you have another phone, you just text like you would in any other circumstance. And that was frustrating to try and figure out, because we tried for a long day to try and get these to work, and they just could not work. And once we got them to work, then it wasn't consistent. The other benefit, and I can't get it to be documented, and I talked to Motorola on the phone and they couldn't, they said no, but they also said no to some other stuff like the easy pairing, which obviously does, it's on the front of the box. I don't know if these mesh, based on the circumstances I have right now, I would imagine not, but again, I only have 2 radios, so I can't prove that, but the guy from Motorola said no. So they act kind of like the first generation of the Gotennas. This smaller one is the Gotenna Mesh, but Gotenna has another version, the original version they still sell, that's basically point to point. The benefit with this Gotenna Mesh, I don't want to say just mesh them, because then that's not explaining very well. You can take, say I have one paired to this phone, I have a separate one paired with this phone, and they're, you know, on separate sides of the lake, or out camping, or in a neighborhood, or wherever you are, and then some random person that you don't know that has theirs on to do this, to be able to text and talk to someone else, can anonymously go through yours and becomes a mesh network. And the same kind of principle. You don't have to, again, you don't have to know the person, and they can just have this hardwired. And we have one of those at our house here, and it's just plugged in, it just sits there. You don't have to do anything, and they have a relay mode on this, which again, I wish the Motorola app was a little more intuitive, because there's a selection on the Gotenna Mesh app that describes what relay mode is. And you just press it 3 or 4 times, it blinks, gives you a visual indication, and you just leave it there. I think, again, this is a really great concept. I think it needs to be, I wish there could be maybe firmware updates, because that's one really big pro with the Gotenna Mesh, is you can get firmware updates through your phone, and they can be updated. I mean, it's just software, and I mean, all this is basically battery and antenna and a radio. If you're looking at getting these T800s, if you're looking at getting some FRS radios, period, these are good radios. They have a little flashlight, like I showed in the unboxing. You can get the Motorola proprietary batteries. They also use AAA if you're used to Motorola stuff. They've got the weather alert, which does work. I meant to film it, but I was in traffic and I just couldn't do it. But the weather alert works really well. It's very loud. The screen turns on, all that stuff. And you have your high-low button, so if you're wanting to easily just talk to someone just a little ways away, you've got low to save battery. And if you want to do just the high button, you can talk, you know, longer way away. And if you're using gloves, the high power button is on the outside, and you can use it with gloves, you know, like ski gloves or working gloves and stuff. So it's a good radio. But I keep going back to this GXT1000 because it's super simple. The noise cancellation is great. Sorry, it's really cold and windy. They can use AA's plus a proprietary Midland battery, just like Motorola has a proprietary battery. Again, it has a weather radio, call, and the power is phenomenal on these things. And they have a dock charger, and I think it's a great radio. You get a pair of these for, I think we got these for $110 at REI. And I think when we got these, they were similar to that. They might have been $10 or $20 less. And you get similar accessories. You know, on this one you get batteries, manual. On these, you do not get a desktop charger, which this you do. With this, you get it comes with a 12 volt and a 110 plug for the base to plug them in. This just comes with a 110, which you can get at 12 volt, but you have to pay for that. A major benefit to this that I will say is if you were looking at simplifying or going kind of minimalistic, this uses the micro USB, the USB to charge, which is the same as this Gotenna Mesh, which is the same as the Garmin InReach Mini, and it's the same as I believe it's Petzl, their headlights, their USB rechargeables, and the Phoenix handheld lights, which I'm going to do a review on later this year, are all that the micro USB. And that is a big pro, is it lets you carry, you know, 2 or 3 of those same cables, and you can charge everything. And so that is very handy. The downside is that this, you have your base charger or your AA's, and that's it. This allows USB, AA, base station, and proprietary battery that you can swap out. So they just have their pros and cons. If you are wanting minimalistic stuff, say you have a Garmin InReach Mini or something else that uses micro USB for your kind of long range stuff, then this would be a great radio to get. This would be same power functions, or sorry, same mode to power and charge. Plus it gives you a way to talk back and forth, and you can download stuff. You know, your offline maps for this. It just depends what you're wanting. At this point, we're going to keep using these. I'm going to keep using as much as I can just to keep trying to be consistent with it. I don't think it's user error. It could be user error. I feel very confident in my abilities, especially with consumer stuff. Now this is a little less user friendly than most things, but I am pretty competent with communication items. But I'm going to keep trying and keep trying to get those to work. But they're a really good glimpse to where things go. Again, I love Midland. I hope Midland does something really similar. These also, to point out, these do not use repeaters. Thank you for watching the review on the Motorola T800 versus the standard FRS radio and the Gotenna Mesh. If you're looking at a radio that you want a standard power option for micro USB between everything, then the Motorola T800 is a good option. It does take some time to get the texting, location, and easy pairing to work. And if you're looking at just an FRS radio, then I still think the Midlands are a great option. You get a lot in the package. You get different charging options, headsets. You have 2 power options, AA or the proprietary battery, and they're really durable radios. Thank you for watching.